In the WKYX WNGO newsroom, I'm Bill Hughes. The old Ledbetter Bridge is in bad enough shape to cause river traffic to be halted, but officials on the scene have ideas on why it shifted on the McCracken County Bank. Tim Brockwell is there.
Hi, Bill. I spoke to bridge engineer Harold Gibson at the scene. He told me the bank has shifted about 4 feet on the McCracken side of the bridge. He also said one of the piers has been deflected about 6 to 8 feet from where it should be. Just looking at the bridge, you can see the buckled guardrails and the cracked concrete, and engineers say the bridge is, in fact, in danger of collapse on the McCracken County side, at least. No river traffic is being allowed under the bridge, and area residents, we've also learned, along the bank have been advised by the Sheriff's Department to report any shift in the bank that they might see. Of course, road traffic no longer uses the bridge, so that isn't a concern, but there's no word yet on just how long river traffic will have to detour. Reporting live from the old Ledbetter Bridge, I'm Tim Brockwell.
Thanks, Tim. We'll have more on that through the afternoon. What started as a drop in the 2 approach spans at the west end of the old Ledbetter Bridge over the Tennessee River has turned into a multi-agency response to land slippage along a bluff on the McCracken County side of the river. Tim Brockwell reports.
An inspection of the incident found land along the bluff at the base of the approach piers had moved downhill several feet, causing the 2 approach spans to drop about 3 to 4 feet where they join. Kentucky Transportation Cabinet spokesman Keith Todd said officials are still trying to decide on the best course of action going forward.
One of the options may be to take down those spans and possibly the main span on the McCracken side of the river, just so that we don't interfere with navigation, and then we could come back and let a contract for demolition of the rest of the bridge.
According to Todd, the U.S. Coast Guard has reopened the area around the bridge to river traffic. I'm Tim Brockwell. Geologists and local officials visited the bluff and the shoreline near the old Ledbetter Bridge Thursday, examining the land slippage that happened last Wednesday. Bill Hughes reports.
Geologist David Williams is with the Kentucky Geological Survey, a research organization affiliated with the University of Kentucky. Williams said he was not here last week, but from what he's seen and heard, nothing much has changed in the last 8 days.
Really wasn't any fresh scarring or anything that I could see on the escarpments that we looked at.
He said that was the case for the area near the bridge piers, too. Williams said the main cause for any slippage like this is gravity and water. After a flood or a heavy rain, when higher ground is saturated and heavy, it's easy for overhanging earth to tumble down when the water levels recede. He said there's evidence of previous slides over long periods of time, but no imminent danger in the area. With another round of storms and possible heavy rain this weekend, Williams said it will be interesting to see if that has any effect. The slippage last week followed 3.5 inches of rain over a couple of days. I'm Bill Hughes.
The bluff on the western end of the Tennessee River has moved again, and state transportation officials visited the old Ledbetter Bridge again Monday. Bill Hughes reports.
Keith Todd from the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet said they were notified of an electrical failure at the bridge Sunday evening.
When our people went down to investigate, they found that a power pole that supplies power to the bridge nav lights had moved down the bluff, and that had blown the breakers in the main box that supplies power out to the bridge.
Todd said the pole had moved about 30 feet downhill toward the river. He added that the Transportation Cabinet knew power would have to eventually be cut, so they installed solar-powered navigation lights on the bridge last week, which means river traffic was never affected by the outage. The U.S. Coast Guard was notified, and crews from Jackson Purchase Energy came to the bridge yesterday and removed the now useless power feed. Todd said rainfall in the area has continued to cause the entire bluff along the Tennessee River to drift or collapse toward the river, which affects numerous pieces of private property in addition to the bridge. Demolition contractors are working out details with multiple government agencies and should begin taking down the bridge in a couple of weeks. I'm Bill Hughes. Kentucky Transportation Cabinet officials are waiting for the U.S. Coast Guard to approve a plan to use explosives to bring down what's left of the old Ledbetter Bridge. Tim Brockwell reports.
KYTC spokesman Keith Todd says once federal officials sign off on the demolition plan, it shouldn't take long for crews to get ready for blasting work to begin.
Once we get approval from the Corps of Engineers, and then what they submit is approved by the Coast Guard, probably within a couple of weeks, we could have something set up and be ready to go.
Todd said workers continue to make progress with removal of the decking down the approach span on the Livingston County side, which he said should take about a month to complete. Due to land slippage along the bluff near the bridge, 1 land-based approach pier and 2 approach spans at the west end of the bridge collapsed in the early morning hours of June 22nd, prompting engineers to expedite demolition of the structure. I'm Tim Brockwell.
Due to a slow start on the cutting process and the potential for weather issues this week, the use of explosives for the controlled demolition of a truss on the old Ledbetter Bridge at Paducah has been rescheduled for 8 a.m. next Tuesday. Joe Jackson reports.
The contractor is cutting the left descending truss on the McCracken County side of the Tennessee River in key locations, weakening the truss so it can be taken down by a controlled explosion. The cuts will allow the truss to break into 40-foot sections when it's knocked from the piers. Kentucky Transportation Cabinet District 1 spokesman Keith Todd said the agency, the contractor, and local law enforcement are making arrangements for the public to observe the detonation from a safe distance. Boat traffic on the Tennessee River will be stopped and a 1,500-foot safety perimeter will be set up about 7 a.m. on the day of the blast. I'm Joe Jackson.
The first section of the old Ledbetter Bridge was brought down Tuesday morning. Tim Brockwell reports.
After a loud boom and a cloud of smoke, what once was the western approach span of the old Ledbetter Bridge now sits at the bottom of the Tennessee River. A crowd of hundreds gathered on the new Tennessee River Bridge about 2,000 feet upriver from the doomed structure to watch the blast. In an instant, what had stood for more than 8 decades came down with a giant splash, and onlookers were treated to an event rarely seen in our area. Kentucky Transportation Cabinet spokesman Keith Todd offered some consolation to those who were unable to come out and watch the demolition, saying there will be more opportunities for the public to witness the rest of the bridge being brought down.
There's still going to be some opportunities for folks to come up and see the old bridge taken down.
Todd said about 4 more detonations in all will be required to bring down what remains of the aging structure. I'm Tim Brockwell.
The final pieces of the piers that once supported the old Ledbetter Bridge are now gone. Bill Hughes reports.
2 controlled detonations about a second apart broke the bottom sections of the piers into pieces just after 2 p.m. Friday. Demolition crews used sonar equipment and a long-reach traco to verify that no large sections of the piers were intact underneath the surface of the river, and they believe their explosives did their job. Crews will begin plucking the pieces of concrete from the river today. I'm Bill Hughes.